Good afternoon, Tonette. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Jeremy?
Wonderful. Tonette, I'm glad you're taking time out of your schedule today. Just want to take this opportunity to interview you as a mortgage broker and also one of the clients of Red Hawk Coaching, just so others can see, what it takes to be successful in their business, as it's been a blessing and a great opportunity over the last few months of our coaching to see your business just take off. And so Tonette, tell me a little bit about yourself before you get into the mortgage side. What was your upbringing? What took you to the mortgage industry?
Oh, wow. You're making me go back down memory lane here.
Yeah, we don't have to go back to the time you were born, but
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, and lived there all my life pretty much, and migrated to California. I went to San Diego State University. I was about 17 years old when I left Shreveport, Louisiana, and I got an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to run track for San Diego State University, and also propelled me to run professional track for Nike as well. Did that for about eight and a half years, had a wonderful career until I subdued injuries. And nobody as an athlete that's trained for something that's so great of magnitude and it had to end abruptly with an injury. So to answer your question in reference to how I got started with real estate, it is actually a funny story. So my husband and I, we migrated to Houston in 2000, I believe it was 12 or either 13. And he said he wanted to be a real estate agent. And he had this great idea saying, hey, I think I should be a realtor and you could be a loan officer. I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you think I should do, maybe we could be partners and we could do it together. Well, long story short, he was a realtor for about a month. And that was 5+ years ago. And I'm still a loan officer. So it was more so of a team experience we was going to do together. And he decided not to pursue real estate. But he's a great master electrician. And so I decided to stay into mortgages by being a loan officer.
Awesome. So what was it about the mortgage industry? Obviously it probably picked you, right? What was the thing that drove you towards being in that industry?
Well, from a personal background, when I was in California, I actually bought multiple properties, just like anybody, excited about real estate. And when I decided to buy, I bought at the wrong time. In reference to when the market was on a downturn, I actually got caught up on what they call adjustable rate mortgages. And nobody really educated me on how mortgages work and what's the best strategy for an individual person versus going with the overall, I'm here to make money, meaning the other person on the other side of the table. So I got caught up in, like I said, adjustable rate mortgages and actually lost several homes that way. So for my personal experience, I decided if I ever become a loan officer, I wanted to educate and teach people the correct way of buying a home and secure themselves long-term versus a short-term gain.
Yeah, you see that a lot, especially in this industry where, people have had a bad experience and they're like, I know I can do better and help other people go through that situation and not experience the experiences that I've had. And
Right.
So in doing that, and coming to Houston and launching that, what was your why? Why the mortgage industry? What is it that gets you up every single day, gets you into the office and gets you working with customers and clients and delivering a high amount of value to help them get into the dream home that they want? What's that why?
The big why, honestly, is education. I love educating people from a personal experience, like I said before. Besides family and creating an inheritance for my children's children, I only have one son, but I may have more one day. But I believe in leaving an inheritance. So real estate is a great way of doing that and building long-term wealth and, also for retirement. So my big why is to educate people to make a lasting impression, not just making a mortgage transaction, but more so friendship and teaching them the correct way to build upon wealth through real estate.
That's incredible. Yeah, when we get into these industries, it's always usually something bigger than ourselves that
Right.
And being able to help them accomplish that and to do it in the right way, which is really
right.
So what makes you different? There's a lot of mortgage people out there. I could throw a rock and probably hit 3 from my office here. What makes you different? Why should somebody hire Tonette Pipkins with NRL Mortgage?
What makes me different, like I said, educating the client. A lot of people just go in and figure out one product, like a one size fit all. I don't do that. I start with their goal in mind, meaning the client. I start by saying, what is your level of comfort for a mortgage payment? They may say one number, $1,500, but they may qualify for amount way more than that. So of course, if they say I want to be within a certain range monthly, the conversation changes. So it's more so geared upon their personal needs. I also believe in building trust in the clients as well by, teaching them different ways of accelerating the mortgage, how to pay the mortgage off faster without overcompensating on other things. What makes me different in reference to building a relationship with my realtors, I got this cute little acronym that I actually came up with. It's called a CDA. And a CDA for realtors in a realtor world, it stands for Commission Disbursement Agreement. And my twist on it, I call it a competitive, dedicated accountability. So by me being an athlete, I'm very competitive by nature. So when I reach out to realtors and build a lasting relationship, I make it all about them. I make them shine. I'm originally used to me being dedicated and also having accountability. If I say I'm going to do it, I execute what I say I'm going to do. And I also teach my team and everyone around me to grow and go beyond what they see currently.
And so when you talk about competitive, I know we've had some coaching conversations around this. And, one of the things that really jumps out to me is you say, I'm here to make the real estate agent shine. It's not necessarily about Tonette Pipkins, right?
Right.
Why do you take that approach?
I take that approach because everybody falls on the cliche. And when I say everyone, several different people within my industry will say things like, well, we'll close on time. We have in-house underwriting. Well, that's great. My job is to communicate. So I'm not going to talk about how I'm supposed to communicate with a client. I do what's best for everyone across the board. So in reference to being set apart and being different, it goes back to me just overly communicating and being competitive, because I believe in this market is forever changing. And by it's being forever changing, it's my job to keep everyone abreast of what's going on. And that's why I fall in the category of being so competitive, because, hey, I want to be number one at whatever I do. There's no secret to that. So to be
that background, right, of running and being competitive there, you have the same type of competitiveness now in this industry. And I've heard you say before. Tell me a little bit about. I might get it wrong, but as far as communication, if I'm not the one communicating first, you kind of make it a game that, and if your client or the agent communicates first, then you've kind of lost the game. Can you rephrase that? I probably got it wrong.
No, it's okay. You're actually on track with it. I run a super tight shift with my team, and we play this game. If the agent communicate with us first, or even the client, it's just like the agent, anyone involved in a transaction, if they communicate with us first, we actually lost. So it's very important that we not only communicate with the client via phone, via text, but we also have a paper trail via email. Because, when you make a phone call to someone, they may not be able to answer right away, but if we communicate via email or some kind of transcript that they can actually reflect back to you, it's easier. Because once again, the realtor, the client is trusting me and also my team to help them fulfill their lifetime commitment of buying a home. So I take that very seriously. I truly love what I do. I know it's cliche, but I'm very passionate about it. And I truly want to leave a lasting impression on every single person that I encounter, whether that's through mortgages or whether through everyday life.
What is about accountability? You mentioned accountability.
Yes, I actually have big goals. I feel like if we don't have goals, we're just wondering what's going to happen and going through everyday life. So I actually have goals and I have action plans, because we can set a goal, but we don't have an action to achieve it. It just feel good. So my accountability to make sure I do what I say I'm going to do. If I say I'm going to do it, consider it done. Accountability to make it a smooth transaction for the client. Buying a home can be very, very stressful, but it shouldn't be. It should be a fun, successful transaction. So the accountability that I have, I start from the very beginning, letting the client know, as well as other people involved, hey, trust me with the client. I'm going to take great care of them. I'm putting myself to a high standard, as well as my team. And when accountability comes into play, I set my goal. I hold myself accountable, as well as the client. And my job is to meet and exceed their expectations.
Yeah, it's that whole let your yes be yes and your no be no. And I know that of you over just the month, not just the months we've coached together. over the time that I've known you in the industry. You've always been that person where your yes is your yes and your no is your no. And when you commit, you're 100% in.
Right. I will say this, coaching has been a great foundation of mine. By me being an athlete, when I age myself, I was actually 7 years old when I got started, pursuing track. And that was the best training that I ever received. I mean, from the time that, of course, physical shape is always great, but the mental state of it all has been forever life-changing. So by me having to coach as yourself, throughout my life, I always had to coach. And it just pushed me a little bit farther than where I want to go. Of course, I also set higher expectations for myself. But when you have a coach to add an extra layer of accountability, the whole game changes.
What would happen if you didn't have that accountability or the coaching to help guide you along?
Well, if I didn't have accountability, and the way I'm wired, if my coach said, Tonette, you got to do 1, 2, 3. Perfect example, you're my coach. Once you give me an execution plan, I will actually do every single step of it because that's the way I'm wired mentally. If I didn't have a coach, most likely I'd be all over the place, guessing what happened and trying to wonder, how can I make my path smoother? So a coach actually will lay everything out for me and, allow me to have bullet points so I can stay on track and stay focused.
Yeah, I know in our coaching sessions, my goal is to really identify, what are the blind sides, what are the things that you don't see, and being able to give that 30,000 foot perspective of, okay, Tonette, if we go this way, let's think about it this way, and if we go this way, let's think about it this way, and be able to give you the information. It's not always necessarily me. There is times like, Tonette, okay, you can't go that way. Most of the time, though, it's like, Tonette, let's just think through this. If let's have these different options to be able to give you the opportunity to really think through it to make the best decision for you, your business, and for, more importantly, your family.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So what events did you run in track? Let's talk about.
I ran the 1, 2, 400 meters. I was a sprinter. I couldn't do long distance. I actually, stay in shape now, and I try to, if I'm lucky, get a mile in every day, but I'm pushing to do the 5 miles. And but when I was actually running on a collegiate level and also professional level, I was a sprinter.
I was not a sprinter. I was the guy that could get out of the blocks and beat everybody about 30 meters down the track. And then next thing you know, I'm finishing about 10 to 15 meters behind. So I was the long distance guy. I could do that all day. Sprinting was not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I commend the long distance runners because the endurance that they actually have, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm not a long distance runner today, that's for sure. So Tonette, tell if you were going to go out and talk to an agent, maybe there's some agents on here today.
Okay.
A lot of your business is sourced from the relationships you have with agents. What advice would you give them in going out and building a relationship with a lender, whether it be you or somebody else that's could potentially work with them in the future? What are some of the things they need to be looking for?
Well, whenever I meet with a realtor or even have a long-lasting realtor relationship, the first thing I start with, how can I help you? What are the things that you're trying to tackle right now, and be consistent? Consistency is very important. A lot of times somebody may get a lead and never follow up, but the way to be successful is within the follow-up. So I always ask the agents, do you need help following up? Once they do an open house, they have a list of people that actually come out and visit them. Now they got to go in and add structure to that list. How many times they should touch them. So I always start with, how can I help? What can my team do to help you grow and be more successful? Because it's beyond that one transaction. We all work off referral base. That's the best business to be in if you have a referral system versus just going up every single transaction every single time. You got to dig deeper. And I always ask the realtors, hey, once we done with this transaction, what else can we do to expound upon what just happened? So I'm always looking in the future to help the agents to do more beyond what we are already doing right in front of us.
Yeah, and that's what I've always appreciated about you, Tonette, is you've never been a transactional person. You've always been a relationship-based person because in the end, everyone's going to win, including yourself. And
I think that's important that you say that about it not being transactional, because at the end of the day, when the agent give you that referral, they trust you. So now at that point, the realtor's passing the baton over to you, meaning me as the lender. So it's my job to finish what the realtor just started. It's all about teamwork. So I always let my realtors know you can trust me with your client, so rest assured that everything will be taken care of.
If you were to impart wisdom on maybe somebody is thinking about getting into the mortgage industry today, where would you start?
I would start with what you always say to me. What's your big why? Because anybody can go out and take a test and be a loan officer. It's beyond that. You got to have tenacity, that's for sure. You have to have the end in mind versus right now. It's been about 5.5 years since I've been with NRL Mortgage. I've been in the business for about 10 years. But when I became a true originator, when I say true originator, because the industry was changing when I migrated to Houston, NRL Mortgage gave me foundation for me to grow and prosper, to not only be a loan officer, but a branch manager. So I had things and goals and minds of what I wanted to accomplish, and I had certain timelines of when I wanted to get it done. And I was able to achieve that very quickly. So going back to giving advice to a brand new loan officer getting started, just be consistent, be true to what you're going to do. Ethics take you a long way. Just because it's a no, it may be a no right now. Always follow up, always be very transparent, never overpromise and underdeliver. So those are the key components that I can give any loan. I'm not just a loan officer, but people that's beyond that in the role of real estate.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, because there's times when I do these interviews on Zoom here, and I have people call and say, how can I do that? And probably the best way for somebody that has an interest in being a loan officer, I'm sure you'd be okay with this, is for them just to reach out to you and maybe be able to answer a few of their questions, at least get them going down the right path.
Oh, absolutely. I don't mind, talking to anybody that's looking to get involved in the industry. I'd be more than happy to talk to them. And I always tell anyone that's getting started as well, just focus on you. Of course, we all have big goals. We all have big dreams and aspirations. But the key to that is we, meaning you, have that. So when you get caught up with everybody else is doing, you kind of get off track, get off course. Goes back to you being an athlete. Stay in your lane, focus on you, and you run your own race and remove the comparison.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Sometimes, individuals that decide to get in your lane and not stay in theirs. And sometimes it's even us. We decide to get out of our lanes and not just focus on what our business is about and what we're trying to accomplish. And it just messes everything up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, tell me, and we'll wrap up with this will be the last question. If somebody is out there, whether they're in the mortgage industry or maybe some other small business, could be a real estate agent, a home inspector, whatever the case may be, a small business, how important is it to hire a coach?
Oh, wow. By using the word important, it's very minute compared to the value that it actually brings. Hiring a coach not only changes your perspective of being successful, but it actually changes your life, because it goes beyond working. It goes more so to a mental aspect. And a coach can give you the most accountability anybody else could, because once a coach give it to you, now you committed to something. Mm-hmm. So I recommend anybody beyond a small business to hire a coach. Absolutely.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And one final word, if you were to impart just one thing to everybody that may be watching this today, that might change their world, whether it be in their business or their personal life, what would you share with them?
It's the one word, or
it could be expounded upon. Yeah, definitely.
First, I would say believe. No matter how big you think your goal may be, if it sounds crazy, it doesn't matter if it sounds crazy to someone else. Believe in it. You truly believe in it, steadfast, and pray to God, and believe in God that's going to take you there. Absolutely. I'm a huge believer of just believing in yourself, and not only believing in yourself, but actually set foundations to make it happen. It's one thing believing and not executing. So you must believe and you must execute.
Yeah, it's that aim, ready, fire. Most people just stay in that aim,
Right.
aim, and they don't take the action on it. So I'm in full agreement with that. Well,
Yes.
Tonette, thank you for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. And if you're thinking about buying a home and you're looking for a way to finance that, definitely reach out to Tonette. She would love to sit down with you and consult with you on on that particular purchase and be able to give you great information so you can make a great decision, whether it's for yourself or and maybe for your family in purchasing that next dream home. Give Tonette a shot. I know she's going to take great care of you. I've seen it happen. So again, Tonette, thank you for taking the time today and imparting some great wisdom, especially there at the end. Just believe in yourself. I love that, and I appreciate you greatly.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Tonette.
Okay. Bye-bye.